in general. We go through an academy for that. But we also, in our specific unit, we have a Sentinel representative that comes out, teaches everything about DNA. There, we have a civilian in our office that can easily answer any questions if something occurs. And then we have the resources of calling them 24/7 on a hotline if we need any kind of assistance.
Are you familiar with a probationer by the name of Eric Cantu?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he monitored by you?
Not currently.
Was he monitored by you at any point?
Yes, ma'am.
When somebody gets put on probation and assigned to the GPS unit, do you review their conditions with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do that in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know the terms surrounding his monitoring?
Yes, ma'am.
What are they?
He is for work purposes only. So he is allowed to attend probation, treatment, and work.
Explain the process that somebody would request approved leave.
In general?
Yes, ma'am.
So we go over our own terms and conditions as a GPS unit. We have a contract that they also sign. And in that contract, we go over telling them that they have what we call a 48-hour notice that they send through an email to our general unit. They get access to that email, and we tell them that they just need to put the location that they're going, the address of that location, what time frame they're going to go to there, and why. We generally answer within that 48-hour notice of yes, you're allowed to go, or no, you're not allowed to go, and it's generally against their court directive. And we specify that to them. Or maybe they missed a step, they didn't put the address, so we'll ask them, can you provide an address? But then we approve or deny it depending on what their ask is.
Okay. How did the GPS unit handle situations of emergency?
So we classify an emergency as a life-threatening event. So if they are at home or at work or maybe at an approved location that we already approved for them to be at, then most likely if it's life-threatening, they're being transported by ambulance. Once they get there, we automatically get a alert saying unscheduled leave. So we look into that. Sentinel, the third-party company, will call them. Then they'll call us at the office and be like, hey, did you see that this person had an unscheduled leave? We will then attempt to call them ourselves and try to figure out where they're at and why they're doing what they're doing. We'll look into their actual location data. If they're showing at a hospital, we'll call up to the hospital, see if they have that person there. If they're showing somewhere else, then we'll consider that a violation. We'll send them an email. We'll make all attempts to contact them to find out what's going on.
Okay.
All right, and just one moment. Can I see parties in chambers briefly? And also you, Mr. Cohn?
Just for majority of these rows except for the last two?
It is now, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what time does Mr. Cantu leave his home residence?
10:55 and 49 seconds PM.
Okay, and then what is the time of the entry beneath that?
10:58 and 48 seconds PM.
And what date is that on?
That is December 4th of 2025.
Okay, now I'm gonna show you page 15. Does Mr. Cantu's GPS monitor remain in motion? On the first column at 11:01.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then we see 2 columns down, we get an asterisk at the address, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then at what time does Mr. Cantu arrive at the 13 Country Pike address?
finally is at 0 speed, which means it's not in motion anymore.
Okay, and it receives a 0 motion at approximately what time?
11:40 and 49 seconds PM.
Okay. So when you contacted Mr. Cantu, what did he tell you was the reason for leaving his home address?
He needed to go pick up his daughter for an emergency situation.
Okay, and did Mr. Cantu ever provide you documentation of said emergency?
No, ma'am.
Did he go into specifics regarding whether he was the only individual that could tend to this emergency?
No, ma'am.
Okay, were you aware that Sentinel was able to make contact with Mr. Cantu?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review those notes prior to contacting Mr. Cantu yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you do that?
That's part of my daily duties.
Okay, I'm gonna play State's Exhibit number 2.
Why do you think you're calling for Eric Cantu?
Yes, this is Eric. I'm on the way. I have an emergency to pick up my daughter.
Okay, and are you going back home afterwards?
I'm going straight back home. I'm just going down the street 10 minutes, or it's about like 13 minutes, and then I'll come back.
I'll go ahead and make out and hope your daughter's okay, and you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, ma'am, you too as well.
I thank you. Bye.
Now, when you spoke to Mr. Cantu, was his call with Sentinel consistent with what he explained to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you form an opinion as to whether a GPS violation occurred on December 4th, 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you base that opinion on?
The records and the data.
And what is your opinion as to whether a violation had occurred?
My opinion is that a violation did occur of an unscheduled leave that in around 11 PM that day on December 4th, 2025.
And is that a violation of the conditions that Mr. Cantu was to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense?
So that was Eric's voice on the phone, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You recognize it?
Yes, sir.
You don't have any reason to believe he was trying to pull a fast one?
No, sir.
And he said he's going about 10 minutes and he's coming straight back home, and your records indicate he did exactly that, correct?
Correct.
In fact, the location he went to, do you know what's at that location?
An apartment building.
Did you know that's where his one-year-old daughter was residing?
No, sir.
Now, you talk about emergencies. So if I'm on your monitoring and it's 11:30 on a Thursday night, and I'm trying to find out, is my daughter okay, but I can't get an answer, who is there a number I can call? Can I call you at home or your cell phone? How do I reach you to say, hey, I need to run a check, I'll be right back?
Yes, sir. There's 2 emergency contact lines every defendant gets. They can call 24 hours, 7 days a week. They can leave a voicemail. They can text. It's a cell phone.
Now, they're not always answered, are they?
I would say they're most answered, yes.
Well, let's look at what Sentinel DNA says about this. Called Bear County Sheriff's, no answer. Called Bear County Sheriff's, no answer. Called Bear County Sheriff, no answer. Next page. I mean, so it's not, the phone numbers aren't always answered, are they?
Not all the time, no.
Okay. So now you said if it's life-threatening event, that would be an emergency for you.
Yes, sir.
So you have children?
I do.
Okay, when your child was 1.5, if that child was somewhere else and you thought something happened to that child, at that age, and the child certainly can't care for herself or himself, would that be a life-threatening event potentially for that child?
It could be.
Okay. And in someone like in Eric's situation, if he can't get hold of you, and he's concerned because my daughter lives here, nobody's answering the phone, she's supposed to be there, I can't find her, I'm worried. Does it seem like an inappropriate thing for a parent of a 1-year-old to do to go check on their child?
If it were me, I would call 911.
Okay, because you're familiar with the police, and I'm assuming the police haven't shot you.
Correct.
Okay. So if you're someone who has been shot by the police and perhaps are a little concerned about what effect, what help they may get, if any, running down the street, telling the officer that calls, hey, here's exactly what I'm doing, I'll be right back home, that's the next best thing, isn't it?
I wouldn't speculate to that.
Okay, but that's what happened in this case. He answered the phone, he gave his name, he said, here's what's happening, I'm going to go check on my daughter, I'm going straight back home, right?
He answered the phone to a third party. He never did call our office.
To your knowledge.
To our knowledge, yes.
Look, a Sentinel called and y'all didn't answer at least 3 times that day. After this event. So so the emergencies, those aren't violations, correct? If there's a life-threatening event or something that is perceived as a life-threatening event, that would qualify as a non-violation?
Not all the time. We just report and we monitor and report to either a probation officer or the court, and they will make that determination as we are deputies. So we have impartial judgment and we fill our reports out and send them off.
So, and what was your impartial judgment on this? You thought he was not telling the truth?
I had no opinion of the time. I knew that he had an unscheduled leave of his GPS monitor.
Okay.
And
you knew where he said he was going to check on his child, correct?
he said, he did state that.
Okay, did you do some investigative work to verify that in fact that's where his child lived? The address he went to?
I am not a detective or an investigator, sir.
Well, how hard is it to say, hey, who lives at that address? Call that, can I have a phone number to verify that's where the kid is? I mean, that wouldn't be, you've been with the force for a while.
Correct.
You seem like you have a working knowledge of the police department, or excuse me, the sheriff's department. You certainly could have verified whether or not that's where the child resided, correct?
What you just watched was one of the most layered probation violation hearings you'll see in a Texas courtroom. Eric Cantu, already on probation for evading arrest with a vehicle and carrying an ankle GPS monitor, left his residence at 10:55 at night, and according to the state, that alone was a violation. But this case was never just about a GPS alert. It was about a 1-year-old daughter whose father couldn't find her. It was about a man who, according to his own attorney, had been shot by police before. Which is why, his defense argued, he didn't just call 911 when he was worried. It was about a GPS monitoring office that, according to the Sentinel DNA records shown in open court, didn't answer its own emergency line 3 times that night. And then there was Emily. See, a young woman who filed an affidavit saying she didn't want to testify, who took the stand anyway under subpoena, who invoked the Fifth Amendment live in that courtroom and had the judge override her right there on the bench, who confirmed, when pressed, that the DA's office had told her she could be arrested if she didn't cooperate. She confirmed the blink camera footage. She confirmed the iPad moving to Eric's parents' address. She confirmed the texts, including the one that said he broke into her house. She also confirmed, quietly and reluctantly, that it's possible Eric didn't know where his daughter was that night. That it's possible he was scared. That it's possible, if he thought that baby was in that apartment and nobody was answering, a parent might do something desperate. The hearing was continued. The judge hasn't ruled yet. And somewhere between jealous ex-boyfriend and terrified father, the truth is still being decided. If you found this case as eye-opening as we did, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real courtroom breakdowns. Because justice never gets old.